Well, hail, hail, the Runbows here. Hey, all right, Kathy's here, Runbows here. Let's not delay. Broadcasting live from beautiful 9-degree downtown Cleveland. It's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm your host, the Grumpy Old Man, and we are brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. No bow, thank you. See you, bye. All right, we got that out of the way. Pardon me. Oh, I can't go 8 more days with that shit. Oh, god damn. Tomorrow I gotta go up and buy some more. Well, I don't have to. I still have half a gallon, but got to see if I can get it by the case. I don't know why this microphone's a little wacky here. That didn't help. Come on, what the hell's going on here? There. Better. I was doing some more searching, and I spent most of the day watching more of these teenage arrest videos. And all of them were stolen vehicles. That's what I picked out, stolen vehicles. And a couple of things that just really amazed me. There was one 14-year-old arrested in his 7th stolen car. He was in possession of a Glock 9mm with a 100-round dual drum magazine. Another one, a 15-year-old, arrested in his 3rd stolen car with an AR-15 rifle. Another one was a 17-year-old in his 9th stolen car. On his person, he had a .380 automatic. When they did a search warrant of his house, he had a 9mm Glock with an extended clip and an SKS assault rifle with 500 rounds of ammunition. 17. The last one was a 15, in his 11th stolen car. On his person, he had a 9mm Taurus, a 9mm Smith & Wesson with an extended clip, and an M16 rifle in the car. Where do these teenage kids get this kind of firepower? I wouldn't have the slightest idea around here where to get one bullet. And the scary one was the 14-year-old with the 9mm Glock that had a 100-round dual drum magazine. That means this kid could crank off 100 rounds while the police keep trying to reload. I don't understand where all these guns, well, most of them were stolen. But what person, now, you could say, oh, I go target practicing, the guy that had a gun stolen out of his car. Why does he have a 100-round dual drum magazine if he's going to go target practice? It's amazing, all of these kids under the age of 18 with the firepower that they have. It's scary. It is absolutely scary to think that the nice little teenage kid down the street from me could have an arsenal in his bedroom. And I told you about New Year's. That was not fireworks. That was automatic gunfire. Because there were 10 shots that got cranked off right in a row. Bang, 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 bang. And then, the court system, they give them a little slap on the cheek and let them go. Getting arrested means nothing. I think these kids consider every arrest a badge of honor. And they brag. How many times you been arrested? 6? Oh, fuck, I've been arrested 9. I got you beat. It is absolutely scary. And where are the parents? My parents would go through my bedroom on a regular basis. No, I didn't have anything to hide in my bedroom. Don't parents every now and then go in and kind of kick things around, look under mattresses? Evidently not. Especially with the kid that had the firepower in his bedroom. Are parents today that clueless? They think their kids are all little angels? Then when they get arrested with that kind of firepower, they're like, I don't know where it came from. Well, how does a 14-year-old get that kind of firepower? You don't just find it on the street corner, open a trash can and go, oh, look, there's a 9mm Glock in here somebody threw away. Not to mention the stupid-ass people that leave this shit in their cars. I think any adult that is that irresponsible that he would leave something like that in his car, he should be banned from ever owning a firearm for life. I wouldn't think of leaving one bullet in my car. Well, I don't give a damn invasion of their privacy. If they're under the age of 18 years old, I have every right to look at every nook and cranny in their bedroom. I have the right to toss their bedroom like a goddamn search warrant team. Same thing with their cell phones. If I was paying the bill, once a week. Hand me that goddamn phone. And give me your password. And if you don't give me your password, I'm taking a hammer and I'm smashing the son of a bitch and you're not getting another one. Like I say, my parents went through my bedroom on a regular basis. Not that I ever gave them any reason to. They just did. My father, he said, my house, my rules. You don't like it? Leave. Because I had complained once. I'm like, what are you going through my bedroom for? My house, my rules. You don't like it? Go sleep in the garage. I think parents nowadays are afraid of their kids. I really do. I mean, when I went out and bought my items, you know, I had to go through a city check, a county check, a state check, a federal check. I stood around in that store for like an hour and a half. And I perfectly clean. Every single item I own is federally registered. I refuse to do city because the city of Cleveland pulled some shit about 30 years ago. They were on this big push. Register your weapons. Register your weapons. Well, then idiots went and registered their weapons, and then the city turned around and took them away from them. If you don't have a CCW permit, turn your gun over. Everything I own is federal. Although, since the state changed the carry law, you don't have to worry about that shit. I love the looks I get when I go into Dollar Tree. One day the manager followed me all around the store. I said, what do you think? I'm going to rob this place? Well, I says, personal protection allowed by the state of Ohio. And I said, there's no sign on the door. Family Dollar. Gigantic Eaglet. Dollar Tree. No problem. Dollar General. No problem. Save-A-Lot. Matter of fact, the one time I went in there, they have store security, unarmed. And I'm standing at the cash register, and the security guard, she looks at me and goes, is that what I think it is? I said, yeah. Where's yours? Well, our company doesn't allow it. I said, what the hell good are you? I mean, I didn't want to get into a pissing match with her, but I said, what the hell good are you? If someone like me comes in the store, what good are you? Not that I'm looking for, like, the gunfight at the OK Corral, but what good today in this world is unarmed security anywhere? It's worthless. Now, Mark's, and there is an armed security guard at the door when you come in. Now, I'm not about to test it, but I don't know how they would determine if somebody was carrying unless they have some kind of unseen scanning device. Matter of fact, him and I were, well, in a way we were comparing pieces. I asked him about what his was and told him what I had, but not on me. I said, here, you can search me. I had to jump. When I bought my last item, like I say, I was in that store an hour and a half. Jesus, how long is this going to take, you know? Well, I wasn't the only person in the store, but then the guy calls me in the back, hands me the paperwork. He said, your purchase is up front at the cash register. Hand him this paperwork. At every Mark store, when you walk in the door, he's standing right there like a door greeter. And believe me, you can see that cannon he's got on his hip. I mean, him and I chit-chat all the time, the nicest guy on earth, but he's right there to let you know. And then every now and then he wanders around the store, just kind of keep an eye on people, but I know every store I can't go into because they have to have a big orange circular sign with a slash through it with, you know, the slash, which means basically leave it in your car. I do it. I go into Family Dollar just for fun. I like the looks I get from people. Now, in this kind of weather, you wouldn't know because I'm wearing a jacket. But during the summer, I got my nice little shoulder holster, and because one day the manager at Save-A-Lot said, what's with, I said, because I'm allowed. The state of Ohio says I'm allowed. Until your corporation says no. I said, take a look at Family Dollar. You can see the big orange sign on the door. And the interesting thing is, the same corporation that owns Family Dollar owns Dollar Tree. You would think they would corporation-wide. Nope. You can't go into Family Dollar, but you can go into Dollar Tree. It's strange. The only time I really now I'm not prancing around during the day. If I would go up there like now, when it's dark, which I don't go out at night, but let's just say for some reason I had to, then it's with me. But otherwise, no. But I And I admit to everybody, I do carry 90% of the time. I have a beautiful little 25 automatic that drops right in my pocket and you don't even know I've got it. God, I bought that back in 1970, either 71 or 72. It's a little Raven Arms stainless steel 25 automatic. Cute little gun. Drop it right in my pocket. Nobody even knows you got it. Of course, you know, a 25 against a 9mm is like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Matter of fact, we have a hunting store. It's called Fin, Fur, and Feather. And I was looking at the sale ad today. Cute little piece I'd like to own. Except I'm too frugal. It figures when I'm not looking for something that's on sale. The neat thing is, it's, you know, most today are composite. Everything is composite. This thing is got a green lower, like a turquoise lower, and a stainless steel upper. I was like, God damn, if there's something aimed right for Grumpy, a green item. Yeah, it's turquoise lower with a stainless steel slide. I love it. I'd love to have it. I don't want to spend $300. But where these teenage kids are getting this shit, I mean, you can only steal so many. Where's the rest of them coming from? Especially these, you know, ones with the extended clips and the drum. I'll tell you what, if I was a cop and arrested and pulled something like that out of a kid's waistband, I'd piss myself. I'd say, Jesus Christ. You got a 9mm with a 100-round drum on it? And of course, they're not going to say, oh, well, I got it from Freddie, you know. The excuse, I found it on the street. Yeah, right. I really would like to go up to that store, but that store and Harbor Freight are two that I have to stay away from. Like I say, when I go to Harbor Freight, I take somebody with me. I tell them, when I get to $50, stop me. Because it's too easy for me to spend a ton of money at Harbor Freight. Oh, God. Then they, you know, dummy me, I subscribe to the newsletter. I open the newsletter up and it says, you know, new arrivals. I'm like, holy shit, look at, oh, man, is that cool? Oh, damn. Although I can't order online. I've only done that once. Talk about an adult toy store. Holy shit. Matter of fact, I had been in my Harbor Freight out in Parma Heights so many times, the one cashier knew me by name. Back again? Yeah. Matter of fact, I told her, as you're ringing, when you get to 50, let me know, and then I'll decide what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to put back. I could easily go in there and buy one of everything. And with this new brand of tools, this what is it, Icon? Man, they are really upgrading. You know, back when Harbor Freight first opened, they were like a, a junk tool store. And over the years, corporate has decided, boy, since Craftsman went to shit, we're going to step in. And a lot of their tools are lifetime guaranteed. People don't realize that. I can't remember if it's the Icon brand or the Pittsburgh brand. A lot of their tools are like Craftsman, lifetime guaranteed. You break it, you take it in, they give you another one. Unless they can prove you abuse the shit out of it, you know. You're not supposed to use a ratchet wrench for a hammer. Was all I had. But like all the custom shit that I had to get for the Passat, you know, all the goofy metric torques, and they were the only one that had them, and the only ones I trusted. I probably had to buy at least $200 worth of tools just so I can work on that goddamn car. Because there's no Phillips head screws, there's no flathead screws, everything's torques this, torques that, and then reverse torques, and Jesus. Are you the same way, Kathy? Somebody got to go in with you and stop you at a certain dollar amount? Yeah, I don't go in there by myself anymore. Matter of fact, my buddy has a calculator in his hand. Everything I put in a basket. You're at $49.98. Oh shit! I only got a third of the list. Then I sit there and go, oh, all right, I'll put this back if I can get this. There was one day I wasn't paying attention. I got to the register and the girl went, that'll be $276.12. I was like, what? I said, void that sale. Let me take the card over here and go through it. Yeah. I still ended up with $182 worth of stuff. But tools are like my obsession. Like the brake kit that I had to buy for the Passat. I may never use it again. I'm not that hard on brakes, so it could be sitting collecting dust. But I needed it in order to do the damn rear brakes on the stupid thing. Plus, you know, years ago, I had a huge Craftsman tool cabinet. I mean huge. And I probably had easily $30,000 worth of tools in it. And lost it in the divorce. I was down to my one little tool bag, and I said, I'm going to build up my tool collection. And if you look in the corner of my living room, it looks like Harbor Freight's back room. I would like to get a tool cabinet, but boy, they're a bitch to move. So everything is just stacked. Big stacks. Matter of fact, is it still in here? No, I don't think so. I bought a brand new 3/8 drive torque wrench. And it was going to torque those bolts on the half shaft. And then Ryan did it for me. So the torque wrench is sitting nice in the box over in the corner on the stack. Although I showed you this. I got this from Temu. $22. And boy, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to use it. Oops. What'd I drop? It's an automotive, it's an LED automotive work light. And it's got magnets, and it's got, if I can get them out, come on. I hate new shit. And it's got hooks. You can hang it under the hood. And it is freaking bright. If I could find the switch to turn it on. I haven't even used it. I tested it once. Oh, here we go. Oh, Jesus. This I like, the red light. Well, then you can hang it on your trunk or put it up with magnets on your trunk. Temu. Now, I have seen the same exact work light at Harbor Freight for $10 more than what I bought it off of Temu. Same one, identical. I can't wait to use it. Okay, back in the box you go. Rechargeable. USB-C rechargeable. What did I drop? Oh, the charging cord. Get in the box. As a matter of fact, the next time it's on sale, I'm buying another one. Because I want to keep one in the car at all times. Did I need it? No, because I probably have 20 flashlights, if not more. Matter of fact, I bought 2 of these. Magnetic. Bright. You have that light, and then you have the little flashlight type. You can aim it. Rechargeable. These were 2 for $5 on Temu. Got a nice strong magnet. I got one in the Passat, and this one, once I get the shitbox going again, not to mention it's got you can hang it. Did I need them? No. Were they a gimmicky toy? Yes. Yeah, the nice thing is, Kathy, is it's USB-C, and if you have one of these for your power port, because some cars don't have the USB, you just plug this in your power port and plug your cord in and charge it in the car. Now the newer cars have the USB in them, but the older ones, you got to get these cigarette lighter plugs. As a matter of fact, I bought 2 of those. I think that on Temu they were 2 for $1.50 or something. I got one in the Passat, and that's my spare. Because most of the stuff today is all USB rechargeable. Almost every flashlight you buy today, you can recharge it with USB. So I've got one of those magnetic ones in the car. I've got one of these in the car where it's USB or same thing, USB-C rechargeable. Not to mention, you ought to see the mag light. One of these days, I'll bring the box of mag lights out. Do I have a collection of mag lights? Holy shit. I've got the AAA battery mag lights. What did I do with it? I have 2D, 3D cell, 4D cell, 5D cell, and 6D cell mag lights. They go from this to... And one thing I love about mag lights is they are lifetime warranty. Now, I learned something. I left the damn flashlight on the dash one day, and it was in the sun, and the batteries leaked because they cooked. So I dumped the batteries out, and I sent the mag light for warranty. And the girl called me and she said, "What kind of batteries did you have in that flashlight?" And I said, "Energizers." "Do you still have them?" I said, "Yeah, I think they're in the bottom of my wastebasket." "Send me a picture." So I dragged those gooey, acid-leaking batteries out, and 3 weeks later, I had a brand new flashlight. But if you put generic batteries in, they won't warrant it. They only stand behind energizers. Headlamps? Do I have a shitload of headlamps, Kathy? I have a shitload of headlamps. Matter of fact, I'll bring some in tomorrow. I go goofy for headlamps. Every time I see a newer version, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta have that. I probably have 9, 10, maybe 12. Oh, I go wacky for headlamps. I've got one that's got like 10 LEDs in it. You could light up an airport runway with this thing. Yeah, I'm a sucker for headlamps. All rechargeable. Matter of fact, the big one I've got, it's got a battery pack. And it sits on the back of your head. So you got the headlamp here and the battery pack back here. Now, do you have, when you're walking on the road, do you have a flasher to hang on your ass? If you're walking on the road, you need a flasher to hang on your ass. That way you'd have your headlight and you have your red and blue warning light flashing. In some states, if you are walking after dark, you have to have an ass light. You have to have a headlight and you have to have an ass light. One of these days, I'm sure they'll make it mandatory in all 50. You know, if you're out walking at night, you have to have a headlight and an ass light. Like bicycles. Well, Kathy, it's either bring attention with an ass light or end up with somebody's headlight up your ass, you know. People don't pay attention nowadays. Christ. You know, you're walking down the road. Well, I think I hit a deer. Well, in a way you did. A two-legged deer. Yeah, like, you know, most states have bicycle light rules. You have to have a good headlight, and you have to have either a solid red or a flashing red light illuminating the back of the bike. But some states, if you're walking, you have to have a headlight and an ass light. And even then you're going to get hit, you know. But headlights, oh. I've got one that they take them little flat coin batteries. It's a little dinky dipshit. And then they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, but if you had a flashing ass light, they'd find you and they'd go, hey, look in the ditch. There's a red light flashing out there. Holy shit. It's a person. Yeah, it's hard to believe in this day and age we still have back roads that aren't lit. God, we still have back roads that don't even have power lines. You get up in the mountains, and it's hard to believe. You know, here we are, 2026, and some areas still, to this day, don't have power. Talk about living off the grid. Holy shit. Although I would love to take a nice scenic ride through the Smokies. From pictures I've seen, I would love to take a nice scenic. Never happened, but all the traveling that I kept saying I was going to do when I was younger, and now I'm too frickin' old and gimped up. That's why I'd like to have a little motorhome. Me and Boots would go touring the country. I'll put a satellite dish on top of it and do the show mobile. That would be cool. Every day or so broadcasting from a different area of the country. Yeah, you're lucky, Kathy. That, you know, there's a lot of areas that I said I would like the Grand Canyon. I'd love to see the Grand Canyon. But I would just like to take a nice leisurely ride through the Smokies. I really would. I've seen videos of certain areas, and man, although another thing, I'd like to do the tail of the dragon in the Passat. First turn, I'd be off the, hey. Yeah, the Smokies. That's some beautiful country. Oh man, 8 more days of that crap. But it's working. I can't complain. It's working. It's working so well now I go into the bathroom and piss cranberries. That and my figures. Where the hell did it go? Oh, here we go. My twice a day antibiotics. Talk about trying to get that down. Just before showtime, I watched a couple of videos of Irish step dancers. And then I watched the final show of Michael Flatley and Riverdance. Man, talk about moving your feet so fast you can't see them. I admire those kids that God, there was the one video I watched was 8 and 10-year-olds, and they were amazing. I love Irish music anyway, but watching them step dancers, outstanding. I'd like to do an interview right now with Michael Flatley and ask him, can you walk anymore with the arthritis in your legs? I can imagine that guy has got to have some nasty arthritis. All those years he did that Riverdance tour. He can probably barely get out of bed in the morning. Because that's got to be brutal on your ankles, if anything. But what a performance. I would have loved to have seen that in person. But I was too frugal. I don't think they were in Cleveland. I think they were in Columbus. But driving down there, and then tickets were like $100, something like that. God, I was looking. Man, I'll tell you what. You talk about price gouging. I was looking at ticket prices for the Cleveland Playhouse. I was shocked. God, if you want a decent seat, you're going to pay $200 or more. I don't know how, and you know, I got a friend, well, the girl I bought the shitbox off of, she's the costume designer for the Cleveland Playhouse. And she's telling me that most of their performances are sold out. At $200 for a decent ticket? Holy shit. Talk about people with disposable income nowadays. Although, you know, even going to a baseball game is ridiculous. I remember my grandfather would take me to the old Cleveland Stadium. And a bleacher seat was like a quarter. And then there was a rule. After the third inning, you could move to any empty box seat. So we'd sit in the bleachers for 3 innings and then go up to them, although that was back in the days where the Indians were lucky to get 1,000 people to a game, you know. Except for nickel beer night. Then the stadium was sold out. I mentioned that to kids nowadays. They said, yeah, they used to have nickel beer night. What was the limit? As many nickels as you brought. Goddamn, I felt sorry for the police department, man. There were more drunks in that stadium. That was the old one, where you didn't dare go to the men's room. Oh, man, that stadium was disgusting. The goddamn urinals hardly drained. You'd walk in the men's room and they'd have an 8-foot trough urinal. It'd be 3/4 full. And like, well, I don't have to go anymore. I think I can hold it. Oh, that stadium was disgusting. But boy, I'll tell you what, nickel beer night, stadium was packed. Nobody gave a damn what the score was. Just there for the nickel beer. Those were the days, and you would remember, Kathy, when they would have what they call the twilight doubleheader, and the games wouldn't get out until like 1 in the morning. I don't even think they play doubleheaders anymore. God, back in the day, that was cool because you got 2 games for the price of 1. And God forbid they go into extra innings. You'd be at that stadium until 3, 4 in the morning. I think one of the longest games that Cleveland had was like 15 innings. 15 or 16 innings. All it was 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. Because I think that was one of the games that my sister and brother-in-law went to. They didn't get out of that stadium till like 3 in the morning. But like talk about tickets. My buddy's got 3 grandkids. He took them for a baseball game. Well, this was like 2 years ago. Between the tickets, all the shit that they ate, and parking, it was a $500 day for him. Of course, he hasn't taken them since, but he spent $500 to take his 3 grandkids to a baseball game. That's sad. Baseball is the national pastime, but they're pricing themselves right out of the market. It's scary to see what ticket prices are, not to mention food. Of course, you can barely get a standard old hot dog. Now everything's gourmet, God, they even have a couple of restaurants. You could, eat a steak at the stadium while you're watching the game. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when he told me he spent $500 just to take his grandkids to a Cleveland Indians game. The hell with this Guardian shit. Same thing, Progressive Field. No, it's Jacobs Field and it's the Indians. You ain't going to change me. I don't care if I'm politically incorrect. It's Jacobs Field because it was built by the Jacobs brothers. And the team is the Indians. And they'll be the Indians until the day I take my last breath. Whoever come up with this name, Guardians. You mean you couldn't have come up with something close to Indians without insulting the Indians? And even the Indians were against it. I can't remember what tribe, but they actually did a protest at the stadium. Don't change the name. Everybody had to change. Indians, Redskins. I can't even remember all the... You got all the new goddamn names. And then it looks like the Indians, Cleveland's going to lose the Indians now. Brook Park said they're going to build a stadium. So they'll be the Brook Park Guardians. Then we'll have that field sitting downtown Cleveland doing nothing. Or no, it's the Browns. Pardon me. Yeah, Brook Park is going to build a stadium for the Browns. So they won't be the Cleveland Browns, they'll be the Brook Park Browns. And then we'll have that wasted stadium sitting downtown. They keep saying, oh, we need a new stadium. The new stadium has to have a dome on it. Well, this stadium was supposed to have a dome on it. And then the last minute they went, no dome. Now we need a new stadium. Every so many years, need a new stadium. Need a new stadium. Well, maintain the one you got. You won't need a new one. The big excuse, oh, the stadium's in disrepair. Well, Christ, you're charging a godzillion dollars a ticket. What are you doing with the money? Quit playing, players don't need $50 million a year. You look at some of these players' salaries, Jesus. 50, 70, $100 million. Who's worth that kind of money? I remember I had met Lou Groza. Lou the Toe. He was the kicker for the Cleveland Browns. And he said when he was playing pro, he was making $75 a week, which was big money back then. But $75 a week, that's what he said he was making. Because I'd asked him, I said, what do you think of the salaries nowadays? And he said, it's goddamn ridiculous. Of course, that was many years ago. He brought his car into the body shop. And I says to him, what's your name? He said, Lou. What's your last name, sir? Groza. And I looked at him and I went, are you the Toe? He said, well, I used to be. I almost fell out of my desk chair. Here he is sitting there in front of me. But yeah, he was making $75 a week. And he was one of the top players. Probably one of the best kickers in football at the time. He was something more like Babe Ruth. He would point. And the funny thing was, he would point to the right, and then he would kick the ball to the left. And the goddamn opposing teams fell for it every single time. He said he'd set up, and then he'd point. And then kick the ball that way. And as soon as he went to kick, everybody ran to the right, and he kicked to the left. I'm trying to think, boy, I met Don Shula. I met, oh God, I can't even think. I got a list. It was cool when I was driving for the limousine service. Boy, the people I met. Speaking of, boy, did you see the slight that Bill Belichick got on the first ballot to get into the Football Hall of Fame, he came up 10 votes short. You talk about probably one of the greatest coaches in football. And the Football Hall of Fame slighted him. He will not get in this year's Football Hall of Fame. Yeah, Kathy. He got 40 out of 50 votes. Does not get in. I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, you've got to be kidding. Talk about it. I think he had like 6 Super Bowl wins. The list of his wins are unbelievable. And the Football Hall of Fame slighted him. Oh, there was an outrage. I mean, I was reading all the comments. I was like, oh, man, like the whole football world is pissed off right now. I don't know if they interviewed him. I would tend to think with his attitude, he probably told all the reporters, go fuck yourself. To get slighted. Oh, man. Talk about an insult. There is no other coach that can't hold him a candle to him. He's one of the most winningest coaches. If you take all of his wins as a coach, there is no one near him, and they slighted him. And I'll tell you what, if they vote him next year, I'll tell you what, if he boycotted the ceremony, I'd be right standing behind him. If I was Bill, I'd say, hey, you didn't want me in. Now this is a sympathy thing. I'm not coming. I was shocked, utterly shocked. Well, so was the sports world. If you look at his stats, there is no other coach that deserves to get in. And I'm not a big fan of his. I'm really not. I think the guy's always had an attitude, he thought his shit didn't stink. But if you go on his record, he deserved to be voted into the Football Hall of Fame, and they slighted him. It would be interesting to find out the 10 that didn't vote for him. And what were those 10 thinking? If you're a judge and you're voting, you're supposed to be impartial. But it's obvious there were 10 people that didn't like him. No matter what his record was. They didn't like him, and they were like, we're going to fix you. Like I say, as a person, I can't stand him. He's always been arrogant. He always had an attitude. Speaking of attitude, good old Spectrum Customer Solutions got some of my attitude this morning. I told the guy, I said, you're gonna have burning ears when I get done. Give me a chance to explain, and then you can tell me what you're going to do. And I lambasted him. I said, you guys do not give a goddamn about a customer. You don't want to keep a customer. And he started, but. I said, I told you, let me finish. I says, you tell a person one thing, and then you stick it in his ass. Now, what are you going to do for me? Hold on. I'll be here. Then he come back. Because originally it was supposed to be $50. 1 gig. And free unlimited talk, text, and I think you get 5 gigs of data for $50. And I told him, I said, matter of fact, it's right here. Hold on. I said, I got the SIM card today. It ain't going in the phone until I have verification. And the SIM card is still in there. Right there. And I said, I'm not doing anything until I have an email from you verifying that I am getting the new program. Well, about 45 minutes later, I got my 1 gig and a year free cell phone service for $40 a month. $10 cheaper, plus a $20 credit to my February bill, just for the aggravation. And then he told me, month 11, which will be December of this year, to call the Customer Solutions Department, and they will give me another new package. I said, is that in the file, what you're telling me? He said, yes. I said, you're going to put it in the email? Yes. And it is. I received an email verifying $40 a month and to call Customer Solutions in December. So I'm going to let them sit for a day, and then Monday I'll call and put the SIM card in the phone, and then call consumer and say, you only had the phone for a month, you're losing it again for another year. Them people at Consumer Cellular are going to think I'm nuts. Because I told them I am not going to react to anything until I have an email verifying it. And I got my email, and I printed it. So Monday, I'll put the SIM card in the phone and activate the phone. Because I told them, if I put that SIM card in the phone right now, I'm agreeing to your bullshit. And I'm not paying $80. So when I get verification in hand, then we'll do the phone. You know, it's sad nowadays that's the way you have to operate. You got to threaten and bitch and moan. I was thinking, boy, if I keep bitching and moaning, I'll end up getting my cell phone and my internet for free. No, I didn't push it. Like I say, last Sunday I was quoted 50. Today, 40. In writing. Because while I was lambasting him, I went through my story with Square Trade, my goddamn TV set. And he kept agreeing. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Then at the end of the phone call, he said, well, did I make you happy? I said, I haven't got the email yet. When I get the email, I'll be happy. Right now, I'm still pissed off that I have to go through this every single year. But now there's a notation in the file. Come December, in order to keep Grumpy, you're going to give him a decent deal. Because I even told him, I said, one of your goddamn asshole agents in Colorado told me, well, sooner or later, sir, you have to pay full price. And see, when they talk to a customer and they log into your file, they have to put their name and location. And he looked it up. And I said, you see who I talked to in Colorado? Yeah. Well, that's what he told me. And I said, now, find the notes from the girl in Dallas, Texas. That's when he went, 50, 50, I see 50, 50. I can do better. 40. I said, okay. You can do better than her? Put it in writing. And he did. I kind of enjoy this. I really don't, but in a way I do. Because the more I bitched, the lower the price went. Because I even told him, I says, when it comes to the day I have to pay full price, I'll switch internet providers. Thank you. Oh, we want to keep you. We want to keep you. I said, well, we'll see come December 2026 how bad they want to keep me. Let the corporations pay the big buck. Not some lowly person on unsociable security. Because I told him I'm doubly pissed off because I'm fighting an infection right now. And I'm drinking buckets of cranberry juice, so take care of me. And he did. He was a man of his word, and when I told him, I said, I want it in writing. It's in writing, spelled right out. Matter of fact, what is my monthly discount here? Come on. I like these plastic sheets, but I hate them at the same time. You can't get nothing out of them. Here we go. Spectrum Internet discount, $105. That's my monthly discount. $105. Printed in writing. Well, you know, Kathy, it's certain areas, certain people, certain divisions. Like that girl in Texas, you know, she bent over backwards. And then my order got stuck in the system. That was one of the first things I lambasted him over. I said, today's world and this modern technology, and my order is stuck in the system. I said, what are you using, fucking carrier pigeons? It was amazing after that phone call. 45 minutes later, it got unstuck. I told him, I said, you're just playing your customer. You're hoping your customer gets pissed off enough to say, screw it, I ain't calling them anymore, I'll pay their goddamn rate. No, not this one. It just goes to show, even at $40 a month, they're making money off of me. Because I'll barely use the cell phone, that's my backup. Maybe I'll make one call or a text once a month. So they're not going to lose any money on cell service because I didn't want it to begin with. But like I say, it's my backup phone. Maybe in the span of a year, I might make 6 phone calls or send 6 text messages. Well, you know, Ron, I find some of that shit hard to believe because the first thing they ask you is, what's your email address? Verify your email address. You verify it. Verify your home address. I got so sick and tired of giving them my email and my home address. It's some incompetent person that's too fucking lazy to follow through on their job. When I was bitching that kid out, boy, I heard the fingers going on the keyboard. But see, that's the difference between you and me. I get right on the phone, and if I don't get any satisfaction, I go up the ladder. And if I don't get any satisfaction, I keep going. Because when I called customer solutions today, I said, do you have the authority to do what we're going to talk about? If not, give me someone above you. Because I'm not going to go through an hour worth of bullshit with you and then have to go above your head. I can handle everything that you want done. AT&T was the worst. Oh, my God. Once you get through their stupid-ass AI answering machine, then you explain for an hour. Oh, let me transfer you, sir. Then you explain for another hour. Oh, let me transfer you, sir. Finally, it got to be the point I said, I want the top supervisor of the department, period. I am the supervisor. I want your supervisor. The last thing you ever want to do is piss me off. Because I don't care if you're male or female, you're going to get the wrath of my temper. And the more I have to call back, the more pissed off I get. Like I told the kid, I said, hey, I'm retired. I got all goddamn day to bitch. If you don't want to hear me keep going, satisfy me. Same thing with my doctors. You yell at me, you're done. I switched primary care to providers 4 goddamn times. Matter of fact, the one I got now, he started to yell at me in the office, and I said, hey, you and I are going to come to an agreement right now. You do not yell at me. I'm older than you. You want to suggest something? Fine. You're going to yell at me? We're done. A doctor has no right to yell at you unless you do something really stupid. You know, like accidentally stab yourself. How come you got that knife in your ribs? Oh, I was cutting an onion and... Don't you know that's not good for you? Yeah. Oh, I went through that shit with the clinic. Oh, man, I'll tell you what, the Cleveland Clinic's got the worst fucking doctors on earth. I had a Canadian doctor. And I'll tell you what, these Canadian doctors think their shit don't stink. And all I did, he gave me a prescription. And I asked him, what's the reason for this? How long have you had a medical degree? What medical school did you graduate from? I said, oh, you bastard, we're done. I went out to the receptionist and I said, I don't ever want to see this asshole again. You give me somebody else. And my niece lives up in Canada. And she verified, she goes, these are the worst doctors on earth up here. She said, no way in hell do you question them. If you ask anything that they don't like, they go ballistic on you. And this one went ballistic on me, and I walked right out and I told his receptionist, you give me another goddamn doctor because I'm not coming back to see this asshole ever again. Yeah, Kathy, they just like to piss you off. I really think some of these doctors like to see how far they can push your buttons. Yeah, I remember my first visit with my podiatrist. He comes in, introduces himself. I says, before we get started, let me tell you something. If you yell at me, I'm putting my shoes and socks on and I'm leaving. You're not going to yell at me about anything. I know I have a toe problem. You and I can discuss it like gentlemen. That's when he told me, he said, well, we'll just cut it off. Hey, I didn't think you were going to be that straightforward. Matter of fact, the middle of the month, I have to go see Dr. Whack. I'll walk in his office and he'll have a big sigh in his hand, sharpening it. Can I help you? No. Just here to see what the office looks like, thank you. Have a big pair of hedge trimmers in his hand. Just sharpening them up. You're not going to use them, are you? Well, how do you think I'm going to get your toe off? It's not easy dealing with any profession nowadays. Good. I would have called the medical board. I wouldn't even have dealt with the hospital. I would have called the medical board in Tennessee. Because I'll tell you what, the last thing you want is the state medical board to do any investigating on you. Because medical boards, boy, they'll dig up every little piece of dirt they can find. And your license is on the line. Because I did that with that fucking Canadian doctor. I called the state board and I said, you better look into this guy. He's got an attitude. He doesn't deserve to be in the United States. Good. You're like me, Kathy. I don't fool around at local levels. When I left that office, I got home, I called the state board. I said, this guy doesn't deserve to be in the United States practicing medicine. I don't care how good he is. And about a month and a half later, I got an apology letter. Hey, TV, what's happening there, buddy? What's going on? You missed all the bitching. Either that or you were listening in the background and went, oh, okay, I'll let him know I'm here now. Yeah, I was going off on Spectrum today. The poor kid didn't know whether to shit or get off the pot when I was on the phone with him. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. I had to take the next phone call in the rotation. Huh, damn. How's things been going with you, TV? I haven't checked your site. I'm sorry there, buddy. I usually pop in once a week to see what you got posted. But I've been guilty. I haven't. Yeah, you know how these internet providers, they give you this introductory package and they give you this great price. And then when the package is up, the price like quadruples. And I've got 1 gig service. And, they make you take the goddamn, cell phone for a year service free. Well, my introductory package ran out. So I said, I want to keep my bill around $60. They said, well, we're going to have to back you down to 500 meg. All right, as long as it doesn't interrupt what I'm doing, okay. I get the projected bill for February. Instead of 60, it come through at 80. Oh, I went ballistic on them. And then last Sunday, I got an agreed price, getting my 1 gig and my free cell phone service for a year for $50. Well, I waited a week, and I didn't get a confirmation. So I let go on some poor kid today. And he said, I can do even better. I'll do 40. I said, you're going to give me a 1 gig of service and this free cell phone for a year for $40? Put it in writing. Because I've got the SIM card and it ain't going in the phone until I have it verified. And I got my email, $40 a month, 1 gig, and the free cell phone. And I told him, the SIM card is not going in the phone until I have it in writing. And 45 minutes later, it was in writing. And I printed it. You can't tell me that email evaporated somewhere. And it's $10 less than what they agreed to last Sunday. I said, geez, if I keep bitching long enough, I'll be getting it for free. But it just goes to show, even at $40, they're making money on me. Look what they're charging these huge corporations for internet service. Screw them. Stick it to them. They got the money. I don't. The only thing is, Consumer Cellular just got the phone back. Now I'm taking it away from them again. I'll feel sorry for that girl Monday. I'll say, hey, the phone you just got back? Cancel it. Well, that was the only way I could get the discount. Well, we have to give you that free cell phone service. And they'll make money off of that on me because it's my backup phone. I rarely use it. I'll make a call or a text at least once a month just to make sure it's working. So they're not going to lose any money on me. And then the kid told me, next December, when your contract's coming up, call Customer Solutions and we'll give you another deal. I said, put that in writing too. And he did. It says right in there, December 2026, call Customer Solutions for new package. By then, they'll probably be up to 2 or 3 gig service. I really don't need that much. I'm at 500 right now because they kicked me down. I've noticed no difference. But when your package says a gig, I want the gig. Plain and simple. I mean, in order for me to really stress, I would have to have like 12 computers and 30 televisions cranking in this house. Like a TV studio. But when I'm watching TV, I don't want it interrupted. I don't want to see that. God, I'll tell you what, with AT&T, Jesus Christ, I'd be watching something and it'd buffer. And then it'd go back, and then it'd buffer again. And this new over-the-air internet, I don't trust. I want a wire in my house. Like I explained to the guy, the wire comes in the house, it goes into the back of the modem, out of the modem, into a Netgear splitter, and all of my computers are wired. Nothing is wireless except my laptops. All of my computers are on a wire. All right, Rudy, have a good one. We're going to be bopping out of here shortly anyway. But I think these companies are slowly learning, you don't piss me off. The only problem is there are very few wired 1 gig providers in this area. Everything is over the air now. Because they don't want to pay a lineman to run a line into your house. Well, I want to keep the lineman working. Man, another thing I asked the guy, do I have the latest in equipment? Have I got the newest router and the newest Wi-Fi unit? And he said, yes. If we upgrade, you'll be notified. So I got the most update equipment and 1 gig coming in on a line. None of this over-the-air shit like I had to play with that fucking goddamn AT&T alien Easter egg. I'll admit it, I can be a bastard at times. But I also got what I wanted. Because if there would have been newer equipment, I'd have told them, send it. But what I've got is what customers today are getting. Now I don't have nothing to bitch about. Yeah. I felt sorry for that kid when I hung up, especially after I went through the Square Trade story with him. He was like, Square Trade? Who the hell's Square Trade? I said, well, when you go to buy something, like from Walmart, and you see where it says All State Protection Plan, well, once you sign the contract for your extended coverage, they pass it off to Square Trade. And Square Trade don't want to talk to nobody on the phone. The fun part was when they accidentally gave me a phone number. Oh, man, did they regret that. One of the guys accidentally put the phone number in the email. Because when I called, I said, you people don't like talking on the phone to people, do you? Well, we do deal strictly with email. Well, now that I got a phone number, you're going to deal with me on voice. And then they stuck me with that piece of shit TV. Although my niece is quite happy with it. My sister bought it for her for Christmas, and it's been working fine. Better them than me. Yeah, instead of giving me the money, they just shipped me a piece of shit Chinese piece of junk. So I sold it. And then I bought my Samsung, which I am extremely happy with. My crystal display. Oh, I'll tell you what. Of course, now I'm going to jinx myself. It won't work when I go to bed tonight. That TV is outstanding. That picture is, like I say, a couple months back, I was watching a nature program. They showed a waterfall, and I thought the water was going to come into my bedroom. I was like, holy shit. Although, after they shipped me the TV, I bet you everybody at Square Trade going, oh, man, we're done with him. And I tell everybody, don't take the protection plan if it says Allstate. That's like the stupid thing. I bought a powered USB splitter off of eBay. It was $11. When I go to check out, it says, do you want the protection plan for 2 years for $9? Why am I going to buy insurance for $9 when I paid $11 for the unit? That makes no sense. But some idiot will go, oh yeah, I want this protected. If it goes bad in a year, I'll spend another $11. See, people don't. One thing they don't know: if you buy a USB splitter, you have to buy the powered splitter. Because otherwise, it will draw off of whatever unit you've got it plugged into, and you won't get 100% out of the splitter. That's why you always buy a powered one. Where did I put it? There's a USB splitter. And there's the power unit. You always want to get a power unit. You never get just a splitter that plugs in. You have to have it powered in order to get 100% split out of every USB socket. People don't know that. My computer repairman told me that. Always get a powered splitter. That way you won't have any problem with whatever you plug into it. But I'm going to buy a $9 2-year protection plan for something I paid $11 for. That don't make any sense whatsoever. Oh, God, that stuff never... Oh, 8 more days of that. Oh, God. At the end of the 14 days, you'll see a cranberry sitting here with lips. Oh. I would have figured, the more I drank, I would get used to it. Nope. Ain't happening. Oh, it's snowing there, huh? Although, well, the ground might be cold enough for it to stick. Because you guys have had some below 30 temperatures. Well, I hope you get enough to make a snowman. I'll tell my plow guy to push what's in my driveway down your direction. Well, I think it's about that time. I got some hot Slovenian sausages waiting for me. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. We will meet again tomorrow night right here, the home of not 1 but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again tomorrow night. And remember, there'll be 2 see-yas due to the new OBS update. So, see you number 1 and see you number 2.